my friend Reece. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me for a couple minutes. So you play a very important role here at Steelhead as an account director. Your role is to help match those who are looking for exhibit design and production services with Steelhead and to ensure that it's a mutually beneficial matchup. How long have you been with us at this point?
I'm going on my third year, which is a
I
fancy way of saying I've been here for 2 years.
Well, I appreciate that because I love you and you bring such an awesome dynamic to the team. I wish we worked out of the same office more
Me
frequently
too.
because,
Me too.
yeah, you always bring such good energy to the home base whenever you're here. Okay. I have 5 questions for you, and we're going to just kind of whip through them and kind of shed some light on some of the nuances associated with our industry, the trade show and event industry, from your perspective. Okay.
Sure,
Okay,
definitely.
cool. All right. So, question number 1. So, from a business development perspective, what's the single way like a marketing leader can de-risk a massive event investment before they ever hit the trade show floor? And maybe it's not a single way, but maybe it's a couple ways that they can de-risk before they're on this trade show floor.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I don't know if there's a single way, but a big stepping stone would be just strategy. It's really honing in on, who's going to be there? Why am I going to be there? How do I believe that I'm going to be a benefit to those people? All of those types of questions really can help guide you. And if you can answer them in the best way possible, then that right then and there should help guide you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting because it really starts way in advance of even thinking about like the booth or your physical environment. It's the questions before that so that the environment turns out to be the highest and best so that the results are the highest and best.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's being able to answer those questions then can guide you into, okay, well, I know I have this much floor plan to work with. How can I make sure that the strategy meets exactly what, needs to be shown to all the people walking into the show?
Yeah, absolutely. Another practical way that I've seen you in the business development and account executive space really support our clients in particular, but is with a pre-stage and helping ensure that everything's good in a pre-stage. Can you kind of speak to how that helps de-risk as well?
Absolutely. I mean, it's massively important. So whether you know it or you don't, or you've been through it or not, but making changes on the show floor one day before the show opens can literally cost tens of thousands of dollars depending on what those changes are.
Yeah.
So, the strategy part goes in again into just planning and us knowing exactly where, this electric outlet needs to be because of whatever reason that we chose. But if that needs to move 3 feet to the right, you need to make that decision a week or two before, which goes to your point of the pre-stage. We will
Yeah.
build your entire booth, in our show floor before the show. And that way you can literally see it all come to life. It's no longer just renderings. It's not, like, oh my gosh, I didn't expect I was going to get that. And you have the opportunity to make changes, even if that is the thing you didn't expect. We can make those changes and it costs just very little compared to on the show floor.
Yeah. And I can imagine like putting myself, well, and I've also been an exhibitor, like representing Steelhead, but having that pre-stage, giving you also the peace of mind, like, okay, I've seen it in its real representation. I can exhale because I know that this is going to like fit together. I know it works and I've been inside of it and now I can like rest a bit because now just the next step is taking this thing that's already good and taking it to the show floor.
And to that point, it's also resting on the show floor. I mean, we have customers that, especially if it's their first time working with us, the day or two before the show starts, and they're usually up until 1 in the morning making sure XYZ is done. Like they've
Yeah.
literally been asking me, like, what do I do now? Should I go to dinner at a reasonable hour? I don't know.
Can I
Okay, thank
actually
you.
eat dinner? Yeah, that feels good to know that we and that other service providers that offer similar services to us really can, if worked correctly, can provide that peace of mind.
Yep.
Okay, cool. let's move to the next question, shall we?
We shall.
Okay, so in your experience building partnerships, what's a common mistake that brands make when they're trying to engage a modern and overwhelmed marketing executive? So, for on our side, the supplier side, we know that event planners are busy. And so, how do we not add value when we're engaging with customers? Or what do people need to be aware of when reaching out to someone who's like being asked to do 50 things at once?
Yeah, I mean, being cognizant of how busy people are or just stressed overall, whether it's professional or personal, like there's all of these things come into play.
Yeah.
Some of it is being able to listen
So
and
good.
hear what that person is saying. If they say my problem is communication, doesn't mean you just start talking about how great your communication skills are. It
Yeah.
means, let them talk, let them exhale the information of like, well, what about communication is struggling for you or whatever it is. And it also goes to just like on the show floor too. Sometimes you just want to tell everybody like, this is what we do, this is what we do. And it might make people recluse and go the other way. So
Yeah.
you just have to, invite them in and then listen to them and see what are the struggles.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so interesting because listening is such an underrated or under talked about, but when those around you can listen well, it sure does feel good.
I
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, and I think it just helps build a relationship as well. There's a bunch of people all vying for everyone's attention, so if you can really make a connection and listen to the person and hear what their issues are and you believe you can help solve them, I mean, that can go a very long way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because as you're talking, I'm thinking that's such great advice, even for the exhibitors who are hosting prospects inside their environment. I know when we're at a show, it's so easy to go into, let me tell you all the ways we're awesome, as opposed to listening to what they're looking for and seeing if there's a good opportunity for collaboration, you know?
Correct. Yeah, and you just never know, like, sometimes we're just not a fit or
Yeah.
human to human, we're not a match, like, I
Yeah.
can't connect with you, and I wish we could, but, it's time for us to go our separate ways, so it goes
Yeah.
both ways.
Yeah, totally.